I'm MLive Chief Meteorologist Mark Torregrossa. Thanks for joining me on the MLive Morning Weather Update. Got a great little day today. It looks like we're starting off with some sunshine. We have some very warm temperatures for this time of the year to record high temperatures perhaps tomorrow, although the records aren't that high for tomorrow. They're in the 40s and 50s, but still, that's quite warm for this time of the year. And then a snowstorm. And, I know a lot of you watch from the southern half of lower Michigan. So I'm going to detail where that rain snow line is. I'll let you off the hook. It looks like take about a line from somewhere north of Grand Rapids to north of Bay City. Northward, that's where we'd probably officially call it a snowstorm as Michiganders. But we'll show that to you here in just a moment. But first off, look at this. We got some beautiful sunshine in most places, and you're looking at a visible satellite. Here's one other thing I like about this. Now, I'm a touch late this morning, maybe 10 minutes, but notice the visible satellite is not a dark loop turning light. The sun's up earlier now, and so we see a lot on the visible satellite. Hey, good morning, Ed Johnson from Waterford. Thank you for sharing. Appreciate it very much. So let's get into it here now. I mentioned the word snowstorm, and I see there's a lot of people on here, so that's probably what it's all about. Oh, no, here we go. Or, oh, yes, that's what we want. So we're going to look at a couple of models, our best two models to look at this time frame. The snowstorm would be late Thursday night especially, and Friday morning. Best two models for that are the European and the US model called the GFS. So we're going to look at those very similar scenarios. The only thing is there's a rapid snowfall gradient as you go southward, and that gradient area lies from Grand Rapids to the Saginaw area. So we'll just have to see. So that means that in the far southeast, Detroit and Ann Arbor, you're in Jackson, you're probably not in a snowstorm unless things change dramatically. Traverse City, Cadillac, Houghton Lake, Alpena, you probably are in a snowstorm late in the week. And in between is where the tweakings begin. So here's today, a great travel day. Here's tomorrow, southwesterly flow, still some sunshine, warm temperatures, and a first storm system of the week comes in Tuesday night, Wednesday morning, and it's rain because the storm center is way to the north, up in the western part of the UP. So that keeps the cold and snow even all the way out of most of the UP. Now, the main storm system, this is Thursday morning, 7 a.m., then Thursday, 1 p.m., Thursday, 7 p.m., and you could see the storm center in northern Indiana. That kind of track puts a quote-unquote snowstorm from, let's call it Pentwater to Standish, northward, okay? Now, this is the middle of the night, Thursday night. April Smith is glad when getting a snowstorm. Yeah, you'd be in on the snowstorm part of it, I would say. Elizabeth Platt, Muskegon, borderline. Snowstorm versus not snowstorm. So this is 1 a.m. Friday morning, and you could see the snow into Grand Rapids and Saginaw now. And then 7 a.m. Friday, and then by 1 p.m. it's off toward the northeast. So here's a good look at it. And remember, just a tweaking of 25 miles changes the snowfall amount in Grand Rapids and Saginaw by a couple of inches. We go after that, pretty quiet in through the weekend. My theory is that we're easing a little bit colder out in a couple of weeks for the early part of March, perhaps. And this model shows the next storm system to the south and shifting the snow band, but that's 10 days out, and that's quite far. Now, let's look at the, hey, Don Frederick, Big Rapids. Yeah, you would be probably on what I would call the southern edge of the snowstorm, of the more sure bet type snowstorm. So here's your rain on Tuesday night, Wednesday. Now this is the US model. 1 p.m. Thursday, it's faster. It's also got a dry slot in the southeast from Flint down to the Detroit Ann Arbor area. And then Thursday evening and early Friday morning, 1 a.m. Editoring, southern Kent County, a little too far out to fine tune, but right now I would say southern Kent County is not in the snowstorm area. And Ron Heffelbauer, Livonia would not be in it more than likely because you are too far south. I have to travel from Mayville to Kindy Friday night. How's it looking? You should be okay there. Okay, so this is the U.S. model. So let's go and let's look at the snowfall amounts. Okay, again, just as a general rule of thumb, remember a little bit of tweaking, and the tweaking areas are Grand Rapids to Saginaw area. You know, south, it's got to move pretty far south to get the heavy snow band all the way down to Flint, Lansing, and Jackson. And I don't think the weather pattern, overall pattern, is set up just for that. And it could shift north 25 miles, which would get the accumulating snow almost out of Grand Rapids, out of Saginaw. So northern third of the state, get ready for a snow late this week. Southern third, rain to snow showers, very little accumulation. Middle third is where the tweaking will lie. So this is the European model in its deterministic mode, meaning the most favored conditions to make the run. And what does it say? It's a 5 to 9 inch snow, northern third of the state, and then there's a little strip of 2 to 4 inches, Grand Rapids to Saginaw, and then there's an inch or less, Flint to south side of Grand Rapids southward. So you see where I'm talking about how the zone of tweaking, so to speak, will need to be through the Grand Rapids and Saginaw areas. I want to show you another thing here, if I can. Now, this is the GFS model, the U.S. model. Kind of the same scenario. Maybe, and it's a 5 to 9 inch, same scenario. Nothing in the southeast. And let's look at what is called the ensemble mode. Now, it's not the best forecast as far as exactness, but it's a good thing to look at. And what that ensemble is they take the European model and they tweak the starting of it like 30 different times, and they average those all together. So it takes out the high snowfall streaks, it takes out the low snowfall streaks, kind of spreads things out, but it gives you a good feel for where the general snow would be. And here's that European ensemble mode. And so it would say 4 or 5 inches. But remember, the 6 and 7s are gone when you average some of the runs that don't have that. So it shows you just, I would take that as the low end, 4 to 8 or 5 to 9, and then 1 to 3. And then again, south of Saginaw, Flint, Lansing, Jackson, Kalamazoo, Detroit, not a snowstorm. So hopefully that helps you understand what is going on. Now, look at these incredible temperatures. So today we're in the 40s, southern lower with sunshine. Tomorrow we are in the low 50s, and a few of these could be record high temperatures. So tomorrow is a very mild day. Now look at Wednesday. As the storm approaches, it keeps part of us in the southerly winds, the warm sector. Still 50 Saginaw, still almost 50 Grand Rapids. Wednesday's warm too, almost 60. Detroit, Ann Arbor, the whole Detroit area, Oakland County, mid 50s. Now look at Thursday. As the storm approaches, the colder air starting to ooze southward, so we get that big temperature gradient from 40s to 30s to 20s in a 100-mile zone. And that's why we go from accumulating snow to not accumulating snow. I want to show you one last thing here. I'm probably going to post on this tomorrow, but you get it today. Look at how the long-term average high temperature will change from today, February 13th, to the end of the month. Okay, so what I'm going to show you is that, and this is the time of year where we get rapid warming. We know it's still winter in most years, maybe not this year, but we do know that the sunshine helps. And look at how it has helped over the long term, over the last 30 years. So what we're looking at here now is we're looking at the average, the long-term average high temperature for February 13th. Counting Castle snow the first week of March. I think it definitely is possible at somewhere across lower Michigan. So average high temperature, February 13th. Let's look at Saginaw, 31, and Grand Rapids, 31. Now, in Ann Arbor, 33. Let's go to the 28th. Saginaw goes to 35. Grand Rapids goes to 35. Ann Arbor goes to 38 degrees. So in the next 15 days, we're going to gain 4 degrees of average heat from the increasing angle of the sunshine. So, we're seeing small signs that the sun is starting to gain power. We know what March is all about. We know March is a nasty month. We know that we get some tastes of spring. We're getting some tomorrow. But we know that in March we get some tastes of spring, and then bam, we get slammed with some nasty stuff coming out of the sky. I like to call it snot sometimes. And we know that the first 2 weeks of April can be somewhat disappointing. Every year's a little different. It's been warm, so theory is that the best long-range forecasting technique is persistence of the current pattern. It's got to change dramatically for us to turn colder than normal into March and April. It does do that at times, but it's got to change. Otherwise, we're heading into an early spring. Otherwise, we're heading into actually a troublesome spring for, say, our fruit crop and some other things, because the buds can get too far out. And we know there's always a freeze sometime in April. Just almost always. It's almost invariable. So, Phyllis, yeah, Muskegon on the edge. Let's go back. The Muskegon folks really get riled up. But yeah, I highlighted them. So Muskegon, rain on Tuesday night, Wednesday. Here would be the European forecast for Muskegon, 7 p.m. on Thursday. You're kind of in the mix, so it's hard to accumulate. Would that be freezing rain? I doubt it, coming from what we've had, but possible. And then Thursday night, you would be into the snow, and you would be done by sometime Friday morning. And snowfall, let's go back to the Europeans' regular run because I like it. What would it say for Muskegon? It would say Muskegon is in that transition zone from, an inch or two south to maybe up to 6 inches north. So you are in the zone where on Muskegon, you got to watch it. Muskegon, Grand Rapids, Saginaw, Bay City area. We'll have to keep an eye on how that zone wanders. So there you have it. Thanks for joining me on the MLive Morning Weather Update. We've got some sunshine today. We've got very warm temperatures for this time of the year. Should be just cracking. Should be trying to just have a tough time cracking the freezing mark. And we're talking 40s today, 50s tomorrow, some spots near 60 over the next couple of days. And then we get into the storm system, and we'll watch that for you later on. Thanks for joining me on the MLive Morning Weather Update. Hey, nice big crowd today. So take care. And again, the fine-tuned details still to come. We're not there yet. We're probably tomorrow afternoon. It would be really pretty etched in stone as to where this storm track will go. Thanks for joining me. I'm MLive Chief Meteorologist Mark Torregrossa. Bye.